Hi everybody, I'm making a screen capture lesson video having to do with the principles of exercise and fitness. If you are watching this, you are probably a student at the Arts Academy of Benjamin Rush, and you're probably trying to get some extra help having to do with the principles of exercise and fitness quiz. It is open note, but it is a quiz having to do with our class. And just to go back, like, we use the health website extensively. You know that this website is a supplemental site having to do with the classes of the Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush at the school for the School District of Philadelphia that I created myself. And we know that we use health a lot. There's a ton of units and topic pages and activities and things like that. If you're watching this in the 2024-2025 school year or beyond, you might see different units up here because we're changing the way the curriculum is processed based on state recommendations. But in any case, there's also a phys ed page and the physical education page. And when you click on the physical education page, it goes and you get the syllabus and the walking permission slip to go to the track. And then you scroll down and there's links. These links are also available up here on the menu bar if you'd like. And on this page is about exercise and physical activity, where you could go and open this page and be able to see even more links, the basics, the benefits, principles, and rules for a few things to do. And if you scroll down and to see the basics, the benefits, principles, and rules for exercise and things to do. And just for the sake of time, since we're all on this video together, just a few things to do gives you lots of ideas for exercise and fitness that are different than sports a lot of times. And there's nothing wrong with this. I love sports, and a lot of times when the students come into the gym, they tend to grab a volleyball or a badminton racket or a basketball or maybe soccer ball. Sometimes it's a frisbee or something like that, or they go in the workout cage and they do different things. But here are some feature resources. This one is a video made by Danny Gonzalez. She was a student in the Arts Academy of Benjamin Rush. Um, she made this video in the spring of 2020. She graduated, I believe, in 2021. It was a fantastic workout video. 10 minutes, along with breaks for water, so you can watch her video and be able to follow it. This was created by Mrs. Woodburn, Samantha Woodburn from Bodine. Props to Miss Woodburn. Bodine High School for International Affairs in the School District of Philadelphia. And as you go through this workout, you click the room and it tells you different things to do. Then you go and there's two videos focusing on the plank and why that's such a fantastic exercise, different forms of planks. I did a video called The Power of the Push-Up, although I will admit I'm not the most muscular person in the world, but I did a video called The Power of the Push-Up and all the different reasons why people should do the push-up. Then as you go down, there's some more things. YouTube has a bunch of fitness and activity playlists that I saved for you. There's a link called Workout Time that sends you to gift created workouts, which we'll get to right now. Gift workouts are an assignment that I give every spring, and students get the option of making slideshow workouts that, and I've been doing this since the pandemic, the spring of 2020. That was a virtual assignment, virtual optional assignment, but just randomly, oh, sorry about that yawn, it was very rude. I will just randomly go and pick this Pokemon gift workout, and we'll go and we'll open it up to a new page. And as you click through it, it tells you what to do. Welcome to the wonderful world of Pokemon. Through the adventure, you will be facing a lot of challenges when you do tasks, workouts to get past them. And then it gives you directions. So we're going to, your choices of companions or Squirtle, Charmander, or Bulbasaur. I probably pronounced them wrong. I am going to pick Squirtle. And Squirtle tells me to do 30 seconds of Russian twists and 10 to 15 sit-ups. I go and do that, then I click next. Squirtle's all happy, and then it goes and tells you to do something else, and so forth and so on. Then there's some other choices, like I'll give you, there's a Bluey themed one, and none of these are to make money, so any characters or images that are used that are copyrighted images, the students just use them for their fun, for their own fun and enjoyment. We're not selling these or using these to make money in any way whatsoever, or shape or form. It's just themed workouts that they want to do to enjoy their exercise and workouts. But I'm trying to find one that's in that's a choice one. So there's a trivia workout, a bunch of roll the dice ones, and spring of 2020, there was one that I really. Oh, here you go. There's a rock, paper, scissors fitness challenge. This particular one was created by a teacher that presented to that convention that year. And as you click on it, you go and you play rock, paper, scissors. If you won, you do something. If you lost, you do something. If you tied, you do something. And then there's also some ones that go through themes and you have to go through a storyboard. Like one of my favorite is the 2020. Is it 2023? I think it was 2023. 2023 Falcon and Winter Soldier gift workout. And where is it? It's not here. Maybe 2022. I should pause the video while I talk to myself, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep going and doing this. And 21? Oh, it's 21. Wow, one of my favorites of all time is the Falcon Winter Soldier gift. And go and you click on it, and there's music, and then you go and it tells you directions, and then as you're going through, you have to read through the storyboards, and then it goes and you pick which answer you want to do, and if you pick it, it depending on what you pick, the Falcon or the Winter Soldier, it then tells you what to do. So my students made them. They're really, really good. So those are choices and gift workouts that you could follow. Sorry, gift, gift workouts that you can follow. And then there's, of course, Derby. I have no connection to Derby specifically other than that I really, 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 really love the site. When you click on Derby's official page, it opens you up to an exercise of the day, a workout of the day, a challenge for the month, gives you some other things that are free, and most of it's free. It's crowdfunded, so they have 63% of the funds that they need to stay active. Hopefully, it always work. I've donated before. Hopefully, it'll work. There's also workouts. There are a ton of different pre-made workouts, and you can filter them if you'd like to. 2,200 plus workouts, you can filter them. So if I want to go I don't know. I'll say I want to go lower body and I want to do endurance. I guess there is no for that. I want to go strength, lower body, and I want to make it easy. And then I don't want any equipment. Then it goes and it gives me my options and it shows me which ones I can do with that pretty little monster, Starmaster, landslide, piece of cake, and so forth and so on. So Derby is definitely a really worthwhile endeavor to be able to do exercises and things like that, and things to do. So in any case, we have this things to do page, and then um, aside from that, in physical education page, there's also oh darn, that's not what I was looking at. There's also links to the PE projects where it lists every single turn-in assignment that we're ever going to do. Fitness tests, safety in phys ed class, healthy weight. But we're going to look at two specific pages. We're going to look at the principles and rules of exercise and the fitness test pages. And because we're going to be doing an open note test, and I know I already went through 9 minutes, so you could uh, uh, hopefully you fast forward it or sped work. I'll put a comment in there to fast forward to 9 minutes. Be able to see this, but in any case, one of our primary goals in the physical education class, other than increasing the physical activity of our young people and letting them enjoy physical activity as opposed to keeping it as a burden, is that they take the physical fitness tests 3 times during the course of the year, along with some several personal checkpoints, and they're going to try to get a baseline score, a midterm score, and a final. So, scrolling down onto the bottom, let me refresh this page because I just fixed something on it. They take a baseline test and then they take a midterm and a final to see how they did. There's a bunch of fitness test forms. There's a whole lesson about how to fill out the forms and whatnot. Then as you scroll up, it tells you different information about the fitness tests. So there's a whole section about what the pacer is and how you can do it at home. Then there's a whole section about what should I get, the healthy fitness zones, and what's the average mile time, what should I get on the pacer, those kinds of things. In the middle of the page talks about the components of fitness, and it tells you what tests we use to test each component. Muscular strength is tested by the right angle push-ups, muscular endurance by the partial curl-ups. We use the modified sit and reach, not the V sit and reach for hamstring flexibility. And we also use a trunk lift for lower back function. And then we don't really test body composition, body mass index estimation, but we do use it in calculation of aerobic capacity, which is the way that the Cooper Institute recommends that we measure cardiovascular endurance by VO2 max, because you don't have treadmills hooked up to computers with oxygen tubes on them to be able to determine what we're doing. We want to be able to test aerobic capacity by an estimate, and there is a form that the Cooper Institute used to release for free. I don't know, probably going on 12 years ago, 11 or 12 years ago now, that I saved. They used to be able to download it for free once you signed up for their site, and I did download it, and it has the calculations within it. So thank you, Cooper Institute, for being able to provide that free resource, at least you used to, concerning the fitness gram tests and thresholds and healthy fitness zones, and I appreciate that. Then there's a whole thing about what are the fitness tests, and you can click to get to the Cooper Institute official fitness gram page. So it'll explain each thing and stuff like that. And then it gives you this graphic, which also appears on the exercise page. Principles and rules of exercise and training. So, no, it doesn't appear. Sorry. Um, uh, I'll go, I'll go back to it just for the sake of being complete with this video so that all of you get to see it. So there are different components of fitness, and there's health-related components of, oh my goodness, that stinks. There are health-related components of fitness, and there are skill-related components of fitness. For health-related components of fitness are what we test in the physical fitness test. Skill-related components of fitness typically don't test, but they tend to be the things that you do with the athletes with tryouts. When I say don't test, I mean in physical education class. But we do these things. We practice these all of the time in different fitness circuits and exercises and sports that we participate in. So skill-related components are speed, power, agility, balance, coordination, reaction time. Obviously, we need reaction time and balance and coordination and things like that for safety. Um, Speed, power, and agility typically would be more for performance-based things, but you can make an argument and those things would be needed for fitness as well. But then you go and, oh, by the way, this image was taken by Ona Millen. He did it on this particular web page, which for some reason is not letting me enter it. Maybe it is now, and I don't. Nope, I guess it's no longer an active web page. Thank you, Mr. Milton, or Mrs. Milton, or they Milton, I don't know. Anyway, health-related fitness components are cardiovascular endurance, muscular strength, flexibility of body composition. With cardiovascular endurance, we're basically trying to see how strong your heart and lungs are. Muscular endurance, we're trying to see how long your muscles can last over an extended period of time. Muscular strength is the ability to exert a maximum amount of force in one effort. And flexibility is your muscles and joints' ability to move through their full range of motion and then return to normal. So we come back down to the principles and rules of exercise and training page. And there is an article here, the 4 most important types of exercise from Harvard Health. And it was published on August 8th, 2023, so relatively new. Actually, I think I'm going to sign up for this newsletter. There we go. Sign you up. Now get off my screen so I can continue my lesson video. Alright, so I don't want additional free newsletters. I'm going to just go over here. So the 4 most important types of exercise are protecting your are aerobic exercise, And it gives you different ideas about what that is and what that means. Strength training, I already did that. So strength training, stretching exercises, aka flexibility, and then balance exercises, which a lot of people don't do. So a lot of people don't do balance exercises, and that's really important for this article, and I'm just gonna go there in the future. And as we go through this, the article, we click on the four types of exercise, and it's according to, we have it all here according to that article. We have aerobic exercise, strength, aka muscular training and conditioning. Um, and then we have stretching, and there's some quotes from the article that are really important for you to be able to read. And then balance, of course, and things like that. Then there's a whole expanded text area, so special notes about the types of exercise. And it says, with recall the health-related components of fitness, and there's a link to that particular page. As such, takes you to the anchor link. And it says, remember that it should also be noted that one of the four types of exercise specifically targets and includes a skill-related component of fitness, essential for daily life. The Harvard School of Medicine includes muscular endurance section of the health-related fitness components with muscular strength. So they're the same. Aerobic capacity, of course, is tested by the pacer and mile, so aerobic. Strength and muscular endurance are both part of strength, and then stretching is part of flexibility. So the fitness tests match what Harvard School of Health wants you to do. There's two more expand arrows. All physical activity generally falls within four categories of exercise. And those four categories of exercise are continuous, interval, circuit, and combination. So with continuous exercises, and I'll just highlight that right now. If I was doing this on Zoom, I could be like circling it, but I'm not. So on continuous exercise, you basically are doing something over a prolonged period of time. So think swimming or treading water, for example, ice skating, roller skating, bike riding, things like that. So if you are in a pool that's in the deep end and you stop swimming or treading water, you're going to drown. So that's a continuous type of exercise. You can't stop until you choose to stop. Interval type of exercise is changes intensity or changes pace or changes speed over time. And it's basically any activity that goes slow, fast, or start, stop on purpose. So continuous exercises could be changed to interval if we wanted to. Like you could swim as fast as you can down one length of the pool and then stop and hold onto the wall and then recover. That would make it interval instead of continuous. Most sports tend to be intervals, so team sports that is. So soccer, hockey, basketball, football, baseball, softball, volleyball, they're all really intervals. So all of the sports that we have at our school, with the exception of also bowling, all of the sports we have at our school, except for Run Philly Style, long distance running club, all the rest of them are all interval in nature, the ones that we do. So that's probably the most common. Although it's arguable that some sports, such as ice hockey or rugby, could mimic continuous, uh, because it's like a really fast-paced, ongoing sport or high intensity. But it's not really true since ice hockey, the professional athletes in the NHL are realistically only on the ice for between 30 and 40 seconds per shift, sometimes less, most of the time. There are some times where they get extended time, a minute to a minute and a half, and when killing a penalty, they might be on the ice the whole 2 minutes, depending on if the other team on the power play allows them to get a shift or not. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay. You don't need to be a hockey fan to continue with this video. Just to review, though, that the four types of exercise that the Harvard School of Medicine say are most important are aerobic, strength, stretching, and balance. But the fitness tests, aerobic is equal to aerobic capacity and cardiovascular endurance. Strength technically also includes endurance from muscular strength and muscular endurance. Stretching would be the same thing as flexibility. Balance is technically a skill-related component, not a health-related component, although Harvard argues that it should be. So take that as you will. Thank you, Harvard. And then we said the four general types of exercise are continuous, interval, circuit, and combination. And that brings us into the final section the basic principles of training. So there's a really good article from a place called Breakthrough Fitness that will go and explain everything that I just said about this, and you could go and check this out. Um, but the most important principle, no matter what else, is to do something you enjoy. I like exercise. I like sports. I'm getting too old to play sports, and the people that are willing to play sports typically are at too high of a competitive level and too young for me to keep up with them nowadays, most of the time. So I don't get to play sports that often. And at the time I'm making this video on January 19th, 2024, during a snow day at 122, I'm also still recovering from a torn quadricep muscle. So I've been limited on what I could and could not do. As you get older, things start aching and paining and makes things limited. So the types of activities tend to change. But even in my heyday, even when I was at peak condition, I was never one that really enjoyed lifting weights. I would lift weights and do push-ups and things like that to a healthy standard, but once I was able to pass the physical fitness tests in whatever year of school that I was in, I didn't really motivate myself to go more. I was never a person that wanted to like the six-pack abs or beach body or really bulky arms. I didn't want to be super skinny either, so I did work out a little bit, but I wasn't motivated. I wasn't motivated to go to the gym enough, and I still don't. I still don't love lifting weights that much. So I do it, and students will see me do it from time to time inside the gym during class when there's free time, and I'm caught up with all the math at work. But that's what I just want to say though. Like, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to keep up with it. So the most important principle of fitness or exercise or training is to do something that you enjoy. Other than that, though, there are a few principles that are super important to understand, and they're all summarized right here with some definitions coming up. And those principles of exercise and fitness that are universally and generally agreed upon by all physical education teachers, physical trainers, physical therapists, athletic trainers, I should say, exercise scientists, enthusiasts, athletic coaches, etc., etc. The ones that are universally agreed upon are frequency, intensity, time, type, progression, overload, specificity, and variety. Some people also include repetition as its own principle. We'll get into why. So this is the short version of all of these things. The FIT principle sums up four of them right away: frequency, intensity, time, and type. Some people don't include type when they're doing FIT. They do FIT, but I learned it with the two T's at Temple University, undergraduate school, majored in kinesiology, class of 1997. Boy, am I showing my age now. And as you can read on this page, as you can read on the page or read on the video, if you're just listening to this in your ears while you're jogging yourself or something like that, then all of the words are listed with a short definition that you can read. And I'm going to give you the really short one. So frequency is how often. So like how many times per week, for example, are you going to do this? In some cases, how many times per day are you going to do this particular exercise or set of exercises? If you hear yelling in the background, my son is also in virtual school right now for Holy Family University, so you might be hearing him talking to some of his classmates. But in any case, so anyway, the FIT principle, FITT, F we just said frequency is how often, intensity is what the I stands for, and that's just how hard are you working out? How hard are you going? And we're going to get back to how hard in a minute because that's another component of this lesson. And then there's time, which is how long, and that could be how long a particular exercise takes, how long a session of exercise takes. It depends on what you're doing with that word time. Type is what are you doing? Is it cardio? Is it strengthening? Is it stretching? Is it balance exercises? Are you doing weights, a team sport, etc.? And then we get into the other principles. So once you get past the FIT principle, the next ones are progression and overload. And a lot of experts will go and combine them together and call it progressive overload because they pretty much are the same things. Progression just means that you start at an amount that you can do For example, if you're just doing a simple push-up test and you can do 20 push-ups in a row, then maybe next week you go and you realize that 20 became too easy, so you go and you add two more and you make it 22 in a row, and and I tell my students to start slower, less is more, and then they build upon and progress. They just move forward. They move on. Overload means that you work your body harder than you normally would. And this is really big for weightlifters. Weightlifters do this all the time. Runners do it sometimes, but weightlifters do it all the time. So I'll give a weightlifting example and then a running example. Weightlifting is I can go and bench three sets. I can do three sets of 10 at, I don't know, I'll randomly say 120 pounds. So I can do three sets of 10 at 120 pounds, and I do that for 3 days during the course of the week. And by the end of my third set, it's tough, but I can do it, and it's getting a little bit easier over time. So I'm showing my progression, and I could just go and add two more to each time with the progression, or I can overload it and make it more weight. So that's why a lot of people put progression and overload together with progressive overload, because they more or less are the same thing, depending on what the exercise is. So as a running example, maybe I'm going and trying to get myself to run a 5K, which is 3.11 miles, and I can run a mile without stopping. But then after the mile, I need to interval from that point on and go 1 minute run, 1 minute walk, 1 minute run, 1 minute walk. Well, after a week or two, I go and I run my mile, but I run my mile and then run 2 more minutes in a row. So I add that just 2 minutes to that mile, or maybe I add another quarter mile to that mile. So if I'm at a track and I go four times around the track is just short of a mile. It's like, I don't know, like 11 feet or something like that, short of a mile. If you go by meters, it's like, I think 10 meters, or maybe it's 9 meters. I don't know. I'm getting it all mixed up, but it's slightly less than a mile, four times around the track. So let's just say I run four times around the track, and that's what I'm counting as my mile. And then I go and I run one more full lap around the track before I go and change it. So that's overload and progression as a running example. Specificity, or being specific, is just being exact. For example, I always tell my softball players, in my opinion, there's no point in making them run long distance. They're never going to have to run longer than but they're 60-foot bases. So 60, if they get a home run, 60 times 4 is 240. So they're never going to have to run more than 240 feet, and they always have to run as fast as they can. So for softball, I wouldn't do any long distance running or jogging. I would do sprint training. You might do a little bit of jogging to warm up your muscles before stretching, but that would be, 60 foot or 120 feet or maybe 240 feet distance as well before going all out with the sprinting. So there's no reason to do long distance running for softball. And that's the example that's on the page. So you do things that are specific. Another way that you can define specificity is specifically targeting muscle groups. So people will say, oh, it's an ab day, so they only do things that focus on their core, so their abdominal muscles, and I would assume they would also work on their obliques and their lower back as well to be able to stay safe. Or they say it's a leg day and they work on their quads, triceps, calves, hip flexors, IT band, etc., etc. So they're specific. They only do exercises that target specific muscle groups. That's another way that they could do that. But specificity basically means that your training directly influences what you're going to do. Special note, CrossFit training and cross training and things like that would not be sport specific or exercise specific. The idea behind things like CrossFit is to specifically do a wide range of different types of exercise that would benefit you and your whole body, but in different ways. So you would, instead of going and doing leg day, you would do an exercise that would promote development and strength for both your legs and the rest of your body. Some people would argue with that definition, and it's fine if you did, but CrossFit training uh, doesn't really follow specificity most of the time, unless you're using CrossFit principles like tire flipping to work on leg strength, because now you're basically doing squats the entire time that you're doing the tire flips. So in that case, it would still be specific. And things like CrossFit, for example, fall under the combination training. High intensity interval training is a combination of interval and circuit training. So that would CrossFit would fall under combination very often as well. Anyway, moving on, you have variety. So that's doing different things. You don't do the same exact thing every day, so change it up. So maybe you go running and stretching Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe you do strength training on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then Sunday you rest to allow everything to rest. I don't know, it's a suggestion of what you could do. During the summer, I tend to do that, or something similar to that. I tend to well, actually, I tend to do cardio every day in the summer, whether it's rollerblading or bike riding or jogging or walking. But then I tend to do weight resistive training 3 to 4 days a week. Now that I have my recovering quad tear, I have to do a lot more stretching as well. I'm not going to be too much longer. It's been 31 minutes already. Going on, we have repetition. So how many times do you do a particular exercise in a row? So repetition could be that you do 10 push-ups, 5 burpees, 10 squats, rest 5 minutes, and then do the same thing and repeat that 2 times. Or it could just be that you're going to repeat. You could repeat an entire workout, or you could repeat one exercise for a different series or sets. In sports training and fitness like that, it could just be that I don't know, I'll give a softball example again. It could be that you're just having a catch and you have 100 throws and catches back and forth. So if you have 100 times that you're doing this thing, that's a lot of repetition. 100 is more than 50, and 50 is more than 10, so you get the idea. As you continue to go down, there are some featured videos on principles of training. This one from Daniel Stansfield. There's another Fit Principle video. It says it's unavailable by Ming Wei. I don't know why it is not available anymore, but I guess we'll find out when I go and click on it. Just get off of that now. And was it just removed? It was just removed. Okay, well, there you go. What is overload, progression, and specificity? So there's a probably better definition than me from the National Council on Strength and Fitness. Progressive overloading, and Kaya goes and combines the two terms into one term, like I said, some people do. How many reps are set? Key to success, establishing SMART goals. SMART goals and for fitness and exercise. SMART goals for students in the 2-minute classroom. And then we get into the last part you need to know, and that is what is target heart rate and perceived rate of exertion. So going down and telling you perceived rate of exertion first. Your rate of perceived exertion is how hard you think you're exercising. There are 2 different posters down here. One saying very light, light, moderate, vigorous, very hard, max effort. Perceived exertion, so tired I can't go anymore, really tired, tired, a little tired, not tired at all. And experts agree that you generally want to be in, if you're not a high level varsity, college, professional, Olympic athlete, or or interested in some sort of high performance goal. Generally speaking, we want to be in light activity every day and moderate to vigorous activity 3 to 5 times per week for 30 to 60 minutes per day, depending on what it is that you're doing. Moderate to vigorous activity. So on this side, it's moderate to vigorous. So that would be at level 4 to 7, and on this side, it goes level 3 to 6, the way that they put this scale. It's okay, it's just 2 different people's versions of the same, excuse me, the same scale. And what the perceived rate of exertion does is lets you guess where your heart rate actually is. You guess how hard it is that you're actually working. And we're going to go and look at another slideshow now, talking about target heart rate. And you may want to slow this video down as we get through this different part. So target or training heart rate, because they both have the same word, is basically the heart rate that you want to get to when you're exercising to get the most benefit. And it's a mathematical equation that you have to figure out. And in order to do that, you have to figure out your resting heart rate first. And of course, there are apps and smartwatches and things that can do that for you, and pulse meters and whatnot, but there's a way to be able to do it. I'm not going to play the video on this video, but there's a really good video called How to Take Your Pulse. And how to take, well, I guess I'll just click on it for a second. How to Take Your Pulse by Hamilton Health Sciences. You can look it up on YouTube. Here is the direct link on the YouTube channel, Hamilton Health Services. So it's a pretty good video explaining to you how to take your pulse, and it's using this particular one shows you how to do it on your radial artery over top of your wrist and also your throat over your carotid artery. So if you're not sure how to, get the slideshow and watch the video. I don't want to infringe on anybody's copyright. Sorry. And you need it to time for a minute. So you can either time an entire minute, which obviously is something that you could do, or you can time it for 30 seconds and then multiply that by 2. And of course, I don't know if the next slide says this or not. Yeah. And of course, other than timing it for 30 seconds, getting 30 seconds and timing that by 2, you could count for 15 seconds and multiply it by 4, 10 seconds and multiply it by 6, 6 seconds and multiply it by 10. But you're just trying to figure out the number of beats per minute. So if you're watching this video during the target heart time, then why don't you go and make it so that you pause this video at this moment, so that you can take a minute to take your pulse, see what it is. So whatever your resting heart rate is, that's what it is. Your true resting heart rate, of course, is when you are sleeping and not dreaming. Well, you're awake if you're watching this video. At least I hope I didn't put you to sleep yet. So pause the video, take your pulse, and then push play. All right, you're back, and this moment you found your resting heart rate. And now we're going to try to find our target heart rate. So your target heart rate for most people should be between 65% and 85% of your maximum heart rate. So what we want to do in class is maintain a heart rate between 60 and 80%. To be honest, most of you don't on most occasions. So how do we calculate? First, we take the constant number 220, we subtract our age. We then take the number you got from maximum heart rate and multiply it by 0.60 to find out what 60% of our THR is. Video in the next slide shows it to you again with a chart. And there's a video there for you to watch, again from YouTube. You can go and watch. And then calculating your personal target heart rate. Here's the steps again, 220 minus your, which is different. So your general target heart rate, you go through the steps A, B, and C. 220 minus your age equals maximum heart rate. Your maximum heart rate, you then subtract your resting heart rate. That's your heart rate reserve. You take that heart rate and you multiply it by 0.60. And that's what you did a few pages ago and a few slides ago. And that'll give you your estimated resting heart rate at 60%. But for your personalized target heart rate, you take the answer to step C. You add back in your resting heart rate. And then the answer to step D is your actual individualized target or training heart rate at 60%. So it makes it a little bit difficult. And this video explains the difference between individualized target heart rate and estimated target heart rate. And it is a really good video as well. So experts suggest that you need to have 30 to 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity, as I already said. Finding your target heart rate allows you to be able to figure out that most people want their target heart rate to be between 65 and 85% of their max. And for us, we make the purposes of our class 60 to 80% is really, really good. And here's the chart between 60 to 80%. It gives us light to just starting vigorous, hard. That's generally